Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. We have the very long-awaited replacement to the Ping iBlade, Ping i59.
Long-awaited indeed, Matty boy.
5 years.
5 years since the iBlade, which is the true replacement. This is the true replacement of.
It kind of looks, just at first glance to me, like something that will compete with P770 from TaylorMade.
Yeah.
Probably a little bit smaller by some margin than the T200s from Titleist, but maybe a T100 competitor, something like that category.
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, with the hollow body construction and the amount of tech that they've actually packed into this, which is quite a small little, you know, kind of cavity pocket there.
It is.
Yeah, it's kind of got some of those other, you know, player distance attributes, but it's in a smaller package, isn't it? Which I think is what's going to appeal to a lot of players.
So as you said, there is a ton packed in here. One thing I thought was quite cool is I think a lot of these irons we're used to seeing them filled with some kind of like foam or TPU this or some kind of polymer.
Yeah.
This one is actually made of aluminum inside. There's kind of like an aluminum insert frame. And as you said, it's not a very big iron. It's quite surprising, but that aluminum piece is, I guess, what's delivering the extra ball speed and the forgiveness versus a foam product.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you know, obviously, again, Ping have been working on these materials and kind of these components and that's what these heads now are. It's not just like a one-piece forging.
Far from
it. You know,
it
is multiple pieces being welded together is how we're getting these new modern irons. I mean, you're between the aluminum insert, we've got some tungsten in the toe and the heel to really boost the MOI of an iron that is very, very small but plays very big. Yeah. You know, something, you know, like you said, kind of T100-ish. I think so. In that sense.
It's nice. The blade length is actually, I think, shorter than some of the other irons in this category. So I think it will appeal to the players. But as you said, there's so much technology in there. I think you'll find it forgiving like a bigger club, but quite compact.
You know, it'll be interesting to see how this one's received and whether this one, with more game improvement attributes, maybe this one gets the nod over a bigger head.
Well, this groove system is a little bit different. I think you can even tell just from looking at the face. Yeah. The first thing I said was there's a lot of grooves on these clubs, especially in the shorter irons. So they've basically gone with a tighter distance between them so they can fit more in there.
Exactly.
It's just for better, rough performance, wet weather performance.
Yeah, try and get that, you know, we saw the spinsistency tagline coming with the Fairwoods this year, and obviously spin retention is something that's big for them because, you know, variability in the spin is what leads to some inconsistencies in yardage control.
Yeah, definitely. So it's obviously quite packed with different features like that. Cool to see the Project X LS in there. That's the stock steel shaft.
Yeah, I mean, premium components, Arcos and it's actually not the Align, it's the Align color scheme. So it's the white and black with the red outline, but it doesn't actually have the Align on there.
Gotcha.
With the Arcos built in. So it is really premium components.
Which, as we saw from the price, you are paying for. So it's one of the more expensive sets, $250 US a club, probably going to cost you about $1,750 to $2,000 depending on how many clubs you get in there. Yeah. I guess people are getting used to that stuff with P790s, and these kind of clubs are all around that kind of price marker. So they're definitely not going to be on the cheaper side, but it does seem like there's quite a bit in there.
Definitely. Yeah, it's seems the way our industry is kind of going. You know, whether we like it or not, it's just, you know, the prices are going up, and you know, this is a fair hike. You know, I was a little surprised to see the price tag, I'll be honest.
Quite a lot more than we've seen from them in the past. Yeah,
exactly. So. You know, we'll see. We'll see if the performance merits it. That's ultimately what it always comes down to.
That's what matters.
If there's value in there, people will pay it. We've seen that in the past with certain irons, but if it's hard to see the performance out there, it will be hard to see the value in the same end.
Totally. And in the bay, you'll have, 10 other options potentially from other brands, and if it doesn't kind of stick its neck out, something else costs less money and performs a bit better, they'll have a bit of a struggle with that.
Absolutely. But I mean, you know, I think online, you know, I haven't heard too much pushback on the price. I have heard a lot of people say they like the look of it.
Definitely.
Like you said at the start, Matty boy, it's been hotly requested on all our social media channels.
Oh, for sure. Everyone's been saying, where's your review? We want to see it as quickly as possible.
I know. Yeah, interesting.
All right. Well, with that, let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Nice ball there. Strike.
Probably the one I missed the most.
Just a little thin. Okay.
A little bit
yeah,
thin.
It definitely spun up quite a bit.
Penalty, didn't it?
You lost 3 or 4 miles an hour in your ball speed. You were 100-ish or more.
Yeah.
And you were about 8,500 spin before, so yep. That sounded good. So it's looking so far like quite a traditional flight. I'm seeing, like, that's quite a low launch angle. You were a couple at 27.
Yeah.
Upper 8,000s in spin. Kind of 130, maybe 132 seems to be the max. So at their stock configuration, if you don't power spec them, say it's going to suit the person that isn't looking to gain, certainly you're not looking to gain distance.
Yeah.
You may, if anything, be looking to dial it back a bit.
I get that one.
Nice. There you go, yeah, good strike there. Yeah, so in the pitching wedge, it kind of like we were mentioning, it seems very traditional just based on the loft, obviously. I don't think it's meant to give you a ton of extra pop off the pitching wedge.
No, it certainly didn't.
Because most of the clubs we test that are a little bit stronger and or have a bit more pop off the face, you're usually more like a 136, 137 guy with the pitching wedge.
Yeah.
But it's like that's the flight I think this type of player would like. It's quite nice and low on the launch angle and high, close to 9,000 in the spin. So pretty much kind of that tour flight. It did seem like if you hit one though, it was a good 5-6 yards penalty.
It was leaking, wasn't it? It was leaking
Definitely
some
leaking.
oil. Yeah.
So I think it was demanding quite a good strike, which you put on most of them, and when you did, it flew very consistently. I think the spin kind of deviation's pretty damn low there, and that's pretty low for the launch angle. So the ball was flying great, but when you did hit them, I think you'll feel it. You'll definitely feel it. Sounded really good. It's all over it. Lovely. So you've got a Pro V1X you're hitting?
Pro V1X.
It's a nice flight, eh, for the 7-iron?
Yeah, no, that's good.
Low 6,000 spin. So this will be interesting. You hit that really nice.
I did hit it. Just
I know you
it.
pulled it a bit,
Yeah.
but what I was kind of curious is it didn't fly too far. So you kept most of the spin on it, didn't you?
Yep.
You dropped the spin only by about 200. Launch angle stayed the same. Your ball speed only went up by 1.
Yeah.
And you only flew it 3 or 4 yards further.
Yeah, it wasn't a great jump, was it?
So that's nice to see. If you do turn one over, again, it wasn't a terrible shot by any means. You'd have a 33-footer for birdie there. That's what you're looking for, right, with this set of irons?
I think so.
No flyers.
Seems that way, doesn't it? Like if you're somebody who's susceptible to the flyer, this might be
the pole kind of long shot.
In fair, Ping might be. No, I wouldn't say. They're clearly onto something. They wouldn't have released it if they weren't. But they may have something here that is a little bit more significant in terms of the face control,
the technology,
than other companies have really been able to develop.
It's entirely possible. Well, so far it's looking like, the front to back consistency. As long as you put a decent strike on it, you shut the face a little bit there, and you're not exactly, you'd be chipping from long of the green with most irons, I think. It's a good swing.
Very similar to the first one.
Yep, sounded great.
Maybe just spun a little bit more.
Sounded maybe a groove lower. Yeah, so you got a couple hundred RPMs more. But again, it's cool. Like you flew at the exact same distance as the first one. Both were pretty good strikes. Your ball speed's almost the same.
Yeah.
Nice. Very nice.
Felt like a better strike, that one, Matty.
Yeah, really nice. But between your very best and a couple that you said were pretty good, just so close in every category. Your launch and spin and ball speed and carry distance, they're all in such a tight window. Yeah, again, it was like that with the pitching wedge. Your launches were almost all the same. Your spin
It's a really
rates,
low standard deviation of spin, isn't it? I mean, anything in the hundreds for several shots hit
is pretty damn good.
Really low.
Yeah, I mean, we do this quite a bit, but that circle is really quite tight, front to back especially. Between one shot you kind of hit maybe a groove low that was a little spinnier, but didn't end up flying more than 1 or 2 yards shorter than your best one. So that kind of seems like the early story for me. It's definitely not going to be the most. Don't think it's the most forgiving club in the world, but when you put a decent strike on it, it seems to be flying a very similar distance, which is good.
I would definitely sort of encourage the stronger strikers, to look at them if they were looking for some more consistency on ball speed and spin and that sort of thing.
Right.
I'd maybe say the players who are looking to downsize their iron head. So far, I'm not seeing too much that would tell me I'd be putting it in somebody's hands who was trying to kind of maybe go a little bit smaller.
Definitely.
It seems like it's maybe, I'm not finding these easy to hit, or when I miss one, I'm noticing a big penalty.
And you feel it, yeah.
I definitely feel it.
You definitely feel it. Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's 204.
So how are they feeling so far? I'm hearing probably a louder sound, maybe a more firm sound than some of the other irons we've tested. Is that fair to say?
Definitely. I think playing a Pro V1X is going to expose a little bit of the tech, the plate, the hollowness of the head.
Right.
I think if you play an AVX or play a Pro V1 even, you might kind of mask that quite a lot, and it might have a different sort of acoustic feedback, but yeah, they're on the firm side.
On the firm side.
No question.
Yeah.
I mean, Blueprint to me was a great sounding golf club, pure forged, very soft to bend and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
These are definitely not as soft as that. Even though, softer body, but the face you can definitely
tell.
the
face with all that tech you definitely get. Yeah, it's something to consider. If you play a firmer ball, you'll notice it. Pretty similar, just even better line.
Quite nice launch and spin. I mean, I'll give it that. I mean, it's definitely plenty of height. I mean, that's launching 15.5 with 42.
That's a really nice long iron flight, isn't it?
Yeah.
That sounded great. I want to say all three of those flew within a yard or two of each other. It's been the story all the way across.
They're good numbers. I definitely couldn't.
Oh, that's nice. Even turned it over. It was a small draw to keep that much spin on it. Similar ball speed. Let's look at what that is altogether. Yeah, that's really nice. If anything, you were more consistent even with those shots with the 4.
I know.
These deviations are even lower. They were all almost exactly the same. They weren't struck exactly the same. Your last one was definitely the best strike, but they flew within 1 yard of each other. And then one thing I was kind of trying to keep an eye on the height all the way through. That's really about as good as it gets.
Look at that. The 4 iron's the highest flight.
4 irons higher just by a shade, which there's nothing wrong with that. And these two are close to identical all the way through.
It's a better player set of irons, that's for
question.
sure. A lot of the characteristics that I think a good low amateur or kind of a tour pro or any level, I think from a good 4 handicapper down to tour pro would be looking at these. After that, I'd be careful.
Yeah, I think these are probably, in terms of a techie iron, the most traditional flying clubs we've seen.
Yeah.
I mean, they kind of fly like a bit of an old-fashioned blade.
Yeah.
But they do seem to keep, the distance control is just so good with all that tech in there.
It's very ping what they've done. Everyone else is trying to make the system work in their favor. Make it sexy, distance, this and that. Like, this is a club of pure function. Yes. Pure and utter function. Better distance control, more consistent spin rates, less deviation on misses, all that. So it's all there. Yeah. It's all in there. Yeah. And it's just not fooling anyone with regards to how far they're going and why they're going that distance. I think that's the biggest compliment I can pay them.
Yeah, I think these were a little surprising in some ways, but it's cool. I think there's no point in making an iron that's too close to their other ones in the market. It is sitting above the Blueprint. The Blueprint are not forgiving at all. I think these offer more tech than that. And it offers someone who wants to play ping. They like ping for many reasons. There's many reasons too, but they are a really good ball striker. I think you pretty much have found your iron there.
Yep, agreed.
Awesome. Okay, well guys, let us know. They're pretty new. I don't know how many people would have tested them. I'm not sure how many of you would be interested in them because they are pretty kind of narrow in terms of the section of the market, but would always love to hear your feedback. hopefully we can do some testing with these. Maybe we're starting to get a few of these full sets in from companies, which is fun.
Be good to it's a good idea actually. Maybe some encore spots.
Some encore spots will be on the road hopefully this winter a little bit, maybe playing a bit of golf. So you may see these again in the not too distant future.
Love it.
Okay, thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.